What's up, man? It's your big brother, K-Rino. Look, I want to go into the Kwame Brown situation real quick. Again, I always got to preface these kind of videos by letting y'all know that when I talk about uh, celebrity stuff, um, it's never from a point of view of trying to get views. It's never from a point of view of trying to contribute to any gossip or mess. It's strictly because I recognize a principle in it that I need to try to relay to us. So Kwame Brown, uh, former NBA player, played 12 or 13 years in the league, with the number one draft choice back in the early 2000s, uh, straight out of high school, 17, 18 years old. Next thing you know, he's in the pros, drafted by Michael Jordan to the Washington Wizards. Um, did not live up to the standard of what's perceived as what a number one pick should live up to. And from that point on, from a basketball perspective, from that point on, people have took the liberty and had fun at his expense and calling him a bust, uh, and other phrases that are negative and disrespectful towards that man. Um, for years, for years and years, during his playing years, I personally never heard him say a word about that. I personally never heard him defend himself or lash out or clap back at anybody that had uh, to say that he was a bust or anything like that. He's been retired almost 10 years. And up until recently, I still hadn't ever heard him say anything to clap back or in defense of himself. I hadn't heard it until recently. A lot of people have been talking about how the man should have never been number one. And look, you can talk about a person's basketball skills. You can talk about and keep it within that profession. But it got to a point where people started to just really, like it got good to them, where they could just take the liberty to take shots at this man. And I think it's mainly because of the fact that early on throughout his career, he never immediately nipped it in the bud. He always took the high road on that and was like, man, oh, whatever. This man's made tens of millions of dollars in the league. He lasted longer than some of these guys who were really projected to be great. He lasted way longer than them. And there's a saying called "Don't wake the sleeping giant." A saying that says, "Never wake a sleeping giant." Because growing up in the neighborhood, I can remember times where you have people who just they mind their own business. They don't bother nobody. They just go about their way. They may not be as stand out in whatever it is you're supposed to be stand out in, but it's always a person or a group of people that likes to ridicule and make mockery and crack jokes on them and rank on them and play with them and tease them and bully them and all that. But then there are those occasions where that person finally flips out and snaps and decides, okay, I'm going to show y'all that all this time I wasn't no punk. I was just letting y'all get y'all rocks off in hopes that maturity would kick in at some point. Y'all say, okay, all right, man, we did. Let's leave this dude alone. So Kwame Brown been clapping back like crazy lately, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because anytime you have a situation where it seems as though people are constantly throwing your name in the mix from a negative light, and you've never done anything to these people, you just living your life, but your name comes flying in out of left field. At some point, you're going to say, man, why y'all always mentioning me? And one of the biggest problems that we have to fix in our quest for unification as black people. We have to stop letting the enemy trick and manipulate us to go and attack each other, physically or verbally. And to have these positions on ESPN and FS1 and whatever the platform is, whatever the corporation is, the ratings are fueled and powered by these types of scenarios and this type of controversy and drama and ridicule. And it's definitely usually one black man or one black woman being sicked on another one. And then other ones jump into it and add to it, or somebody who originated it a long time ago. And that's counterproductive to our unity. But the enemy always has had an ability to play us against each other. And Kwame Brown pointed that out. Pointed it out. And my thing is, it's not to condemn the brothers or the sisters who were doing it. But man, come on, man. At some point, we got to recognize that, okay, you know what? From a basketball standpoint, maybe he wasn't this, maybe he wasn't. You're entitled to that opinion. But don't try to make people a poster child for that type of ridicule to where it becomes a joke, where it becomes disrespectful. And then the puppet master who just lobs the alley-oop up there, they toss out the subject and they sit back and watch those that they have commissioned and paid to do that. They watch them just bang on each other. It's crazy. So I was glad that Kwame Brown defended himself. I was glad that he continues to defend himself, because it's only so long you can just poke somebody, man. This man has not said nothing for decades. But again, that's probably why. Had Kwame Brown shut all this down in his rookie year, but you're talking about a 17-year-old young man at the time who probably just felt like, man, I'm just glad to be in the league. I was drafted by Michael Jordan, the great Michael Jordan. And a lot of people who initiated this type of behavior towards this man, they even to some degree, they threw the rock and hid their hand after that. Because it's well known that Michael Jordan berates his teammates and is very disrespectful. And they have and that starts a pattern. That sets a pattern of behavior, because sometimes people can see somebody else do something, they feel like it's all right for them to do it to you. So I salute Kwame Brown, man. Because I've seen him in I went back and watched older interviews of him, and he was very articulate, very intelligent. This is back in his playing days. And you can listen to him now and hear that he's got a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding as it relates to this dynamic. And he's trying to get a grasp on why y'all he's seeing a bigger picture, like why y'all allowing yourselves to be used to ridicule me. So this had to be a lesson for us moving forward as black people, to not fall for that. Don't fall for that. You can't come up to me to say something, to try to plant something in my ear negative about my brother or my sister. Because even if I may have a thought like, well, yeah, you know, he may not have been the best this or best that, I'm not finna feed in that with you and engage in that conversation with you. I'm not gonna engage in it with anybody. I'm gonna keep it to my whatever feelings I'm having. I'm gonna keep them to myself. And if it's a professional conversation about the profession, I'm gonna still say it in a respectful way. Sorry, man. It's your big brother K-Rino. Please leave your comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get some unity out here, some real unity, because as long as we continue to bang on each other, whether it be physically or verbally, the puppet master gonna forever sit back like this and smile and shake his head. All right, man. Peace.